What's up YouTube? This is MathWiz97 and welcome to episode number 32 of my WWE 2K16 Universe Mode. This is the go-home episode of Main Event before the King of the Ring special, which is coming up in just 2 episodes here in Universe Mode, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Last episode I asked you, which brand did you believe would host the winning superstar in this year's King of the Ring? And it was about a 60-40 split, but it seems though
it's leaning towards Monday Night Raw. But tonight, at the end of this episode, we're going to find out the brackets, the official King of the Ring lineup. Who is going to be facing off against who? Stay tuned for the end of the video when we will reveal those brackets. But when they are revealed, I'm probably going to ask you again at the end of the video. But I want to know your predictions. Who do you think is going to win the King of the Ring tournament? And heck, if you want to get some extra cool points from me, if you could predict the entire King of the Ring bracket, who do you think is going to move on in each round? Who do you think is going to compete in the finals, the semifinals, whatever have you? Just if you're willing to go the extra mile just for, to really impress me, I would love to hear who you guys think is going to win each individual matchup. But, if you just want to predict the winner, heck, you might not even say anything. It's completely your choice. But anyways, we'll get to that at the end of the video, because in this episode, we've got some killer matches tonight for the King of the Ring tournament. It is Raw versus SmackDown. And making his way to the ring, the SmackDown veteran, Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla. And he's set to go one-on-one with the Bulgarian Brute, the super athlete, Rusev. And Rusev, he's one of the later additions to the King of the Ring tournament. He and Stardust qualified last week on Main Event to complete the brackets, to complete the lineup of 16 entering into the King of the Ring tournament. Of course, one of the opponents on the Raw side of things is a complete unknown. We do not know who this man is going to be, but Paul Heyman has assured us that it's going to be somebody very noteworthy, someone that we're all going to, we're all sure to be shocked when this man returns. As Paul Heyman seems to have claimed that this is a returning superstar, former legend, so I don't know. Who do you think that could be? It's another question for this episode. Who do you think the mystery man is going to be? And, it'll be really interesting when the brackets do show up, who that mystery man is going to have to face, because that person's going to have to prepare for, well, they can't really prepare for their opponent. They don't know who it's going to be. So they're just going to have to modify their strategy on the fly when their match begins. But right now, we get perhaps of an inkling to what could perhaps be the finale in the King of the Ring tournament. We've got 3 different matchups tonight, Raw versus SmackDown. Later on, we're going to see perhaps 2 dark horses compete as Curtis Axel takes on Darren Young. And in the main event, we're going to see last year's King of the Ring winner, Mark Henry, the former World Heavyweight Champion, go one-on-one with the current United States and Intercontinental Champion, and the man who last year made it to the semifinals for Monday Night Raw before being eliminated by The Undertaker. That is Cesaro, of course. But kicking the episode off, we get the new blood versus the old guard. It's Chris Jericho taking on Rusev. And Chris Jericho, a former Raw superstar in his own right, and he has competed in last year's King of the Ring as well, falling victim to, you guessed it, The Undertaker. So much like Cesaro, Chris Jericho, he's had an opportunity at the King of the Ring tournament, and he knows what it is like to fail to win it all. So I would have to think tonight, or this Sunday, Chris Jericho, he wants to get himself back in the world title hunt. Chris Jericho, the last time he got a shot at the World Championship was the Elimination Chamber. So Jericho is to get back in the world title picture. And he never has had a one-on-one match with the champ for the title.
His other opportunity was back at Survivor Series, where he competed against Mark Henry and Sheamus in a triple threat match. And lately, Chris Jericho, he's kind of fallen from, being one of the top guys on the roster when he was first traded over to now, really, he was in a similar situation to Randy Orton, where Orton was really struggling to find his place on the roster. He had fallen from grace, that, of course, Orton being a former world heavyweight. Fortunately for Orton, he was able to go over to Monday Night Raw and really resurrect his career. Jericho, he's been to Raw before, so he doesn't quite have that same kind of option where he's got a brand new landscape to really hone his skills. Jericho, he's already been a Raw superstar, so he's going to have to make do with what he's got here on SmackDown. And Jericho, perhaps, you talk about some superstars, I've spoken in the past about how Edge is perhaps nearing, only a couple matches left. He could be very well nearing the closure of his career. Chris Jericho, he's a veteran as well. He's one of our older superstars on the roster. Not to say that Jericho can't still hang, as you can see he's doing so right here tonight against Rusev. But Jericho, he's got to be getting up there. He's getting, not quite to that age yet, but he's approaching it where you have to consider how many more matches are left in the tank. How much longer can he keep this wrestling thing going? How much longer can his body last? So Jericho, you got to be thinking that, along with his current status on SmackDown, status, whatever, tomato, although nobody says tomato, Chris Jericho, he's got to be, he's got to be pretty desperate. I said Orton was pretty desperate, but, Orton, he's a veteran in this industry, but he started very young, and, Orton has reached the top of the mountain. He's been a world champion in Universe Mode. Chris Jericho, not so much. I mean, he's come close, don't get me wrong, but Jericho, he really hasn't won that coveted world championship that he's been seeking, and time could perhaps be coming to a close for Chris Jericho, as he's taken a matchup that, honestly, neither of these superstars can afford to lose. Any of the 6 men competing tonight cannot afford to lose their respective matches. Beautiful fall-away slam there by Rusev, and now into the cover. 1, 2, no! Jericho gets the shoulder up. And Rusev, the frustration is on display, on full display right there. And honestly, this is a huge matchup for both of these men. Rusev, he's been on a hot streak as of late, but that loss to Randy Orton at Night of Champions really derailed his momentum. And Rusev, he's trying to make sure that, well, he can get back on the right track. Another cover, but another kick out by Jericho. But yes, momentum is critical heading into this stage of the game. And with King of the Ring just this Sunday, it's just 5 days away. Rusev, Chris Jericho, and honestly, every man who's set to participate in that tournament, they cannot afford a loss at this stage, because a loss could be the difference. A loss tonight, that key momentum could be a huge difference in victory and defeat it this Sunday. Look at this, Chris Jericho, the Lion Tamer. It's applied on Rusev, and Rusev, he's trapped in the center of the ring. Rusev stacked on almost on his face there, but it was not enough. Chris Jericho unable to force Rusev to submit. But now Jericho looking for the pinfall instead. Rusev, can he kick out? No, he just manages to at the last second there. A beautiful Northern Lights suplex by Jericho. But Rusev, he's a resilient one. We've seen that in recent times. As Jericho now, backbreaker, the butterfly backbreaker. And another cover here from the Ayatollah. 2, no! Rusev again keeps himself alive. Now it's Chris Jericho who the frustration begins to take over. Chris Jericho striking away on the Bulgarian Brute, but Rusev fights back. You don't want to get into a slugfest with Rusev, because that's just not a battle you're going to win. And Jericho's going to pay for it! The Alabama Slammer from Rusev, and the hook of the leg. 3 count, that is it, folks. Rusev scores the win over Chris Jericho tonight.
Big victory there for Rusev. As I said, he was trying to bounce back from Night of Champions, and he's done so with a victory over, of course, Alberto Del Rio last week, and now tonight. He defeats a former #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Rusev, you know, that loss, it doesn't seem to have hindered him all that much, and he continues to construct this path of destruction heading into the King of the Ring tournament. And now making his way down to the ring, perhaps a dark horse heading into this Sunday's King of the Ring. It is Darren Young, and he's taken on Curtis Axel from Monday Night Raw. Darren Young, a former member of the Primetime Players, former #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, and, well, at SummerSlam, a split second away from capturing that Intercontinental Championship from his former tag team partner turned nemesis, Titus O'Neil. And you have to wonder, with Titus O'Neil also in the tournament this Sunday, that could definitely affect the mentality of Darren Young heading into the game. Whereas you have Curtis Axel here, former competitor in the Money in the Bank. He's competed for the United States Championship on numerous occasions. Intercontinental Championship as well. He once, I mean, you gotta think, Curtis Axel was originally a SmackDown superstar. And he was around when Christian was the Intercontinental Champion. And Curtis Axel, he came pretty close at that night. That was back at Vengeance of WWE 13. And really, Curtis Axel, he's come a long way since then. I mean, his wars with Daniel Bryan in the past, his rivalry with Alberto Del Rio, and now his current tag team with Damien Sandow. They've really kind of shaped this man's mentality. I mean, at first when he came in, he was, quite honestly, he seemed like the arrogant rookie who just felt that he could take over the world, that he was better than perfect, that he was the bee's knees. But, you know, lately I think Axel, he's humbled himself. And perhaps King of the Ring, it could just be his time to shine. But I don't know. You're looking at, in terms of desperation at their points in their careers, you can make a case for either of these two men. I mean, Curtis Axel, of course, while his tag team partnership with Damien Sandow, it hasn't been all that effective as of late. I mean, you're still yet to really get a tag team title shot. The last time he really had a U.S. title shot was back at Over the Limit. I mean, he was in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but in the end, Curtis Axel, he came up short on that occasion as well. Since then, Curtis Axel, he's kind of floundering about on Monday Night Raw. If I can talk, I'm floundering about right now. No, Curtis Axel, well, as you see, a nice hip toss there from Darren Young. And Darren Young getting into a battle of words here. Perhaps just letting Curtis Axel know that, hey, this matchup, this is more than just an exhibition match. This could be the, momentum really is key heading into this King of the Ring tournament. Darren Young, he knows that. Last year he competed in the King of the Ring tournament, and he was tossed out in the opening round. So Darren Young, he's looking to have a much stronger performance this time around. Curtis Axel, though, he has not competed in the King of the Ring. This is his first.
And when the opportunity at potentially getting for the World Heavyweight or WWE Championships is up for grabs. Wait, look at Darren! Beautiful counter there into a DDT. But for superstars like Darren Young and Curtis Axel, who have yet to get an opportunity at either of those championships, King of the Ring tournament could really be the place where you can break out and become that main event superstar. And that's an opportunity that a lot of our superstars heading into the tournament are faced with. None of them really have been given at the championship. You do, of course, also in the mix, you have some superstars who are former world champions in their own rights, but you also have superstars who are former #1 contenders who have been there before. So it's just, I would say last year, I don't know, I think this year we have a much stronger, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to use, but we have a wider variety of talent competing in this year's King of the Ring tournament. You've got your veterans, you've got former world champions like Mark Henry and Christian, who can forget those two.
But then you've also got some superstars who have yet to win a world championship or even be given an opportunity. The likes of Stardust, Darren Young, Curtis Axel, Seth Rollins, Rusev. Really, there's a lot of superstars in the mix. And then you've also got current champions, or more recently, losing their championships. Cesaro, Connor, Titus O'Neil. Throw them all in that mix. Really superstars who they're just on the cusp of making it to that level.
But the King of the Ring provides perhaps the perfect stepping stone to make it to that stage. Curtis Axel right now going to work on the leg of Darren Young. And as I was saying earlier, talking about desperation for these two men, Darren Young, on the other hand, he's had opportunities on main event stages over the past year, really. Ever since the Primetime Players split, while it has been Titus O'Neil who's gained, obviously he's gained the major success of the two, Darren Young, he's grown as well, and honestly, you can't count this man out of a fight. They call him Mr. No Days Off for a reason. He is constantly hitting the gym, training, bettering himself, both mentally and physically. And he just has not been able to get past this roadblock that is Titus O'Neil. But, more recently, I think his SummerSlam performance really went to show that Darren Young, he has improved tremendously. And also the fact that he defeated Sheamus to qualify really shows that Darren Young is a force to be reckoned with. He might not be a favorite heading into the tournament, but still, you can't count him out of the fight. As right there, Curtis Axel, the forearm off the second rope. The cover could put Darren away. No! Darren Young gets the shoulder up at 2. But Curtis Axel now, he's got Darren on the ropes. It could just be the beginning of the end for Mr. No Days Off. As Curtis Axel setting him up in prime position. Here we get no counter by Darren Young. Beautiful arm drag. Axel was looking for the finish, but Darren Young had it well scouted as he stomps away at Curtis Axel right there. Now picking Axel back up to his feet. Darren Young. Here's his opportunity to go on the offense, to fire up the comeback. As Axel perched up on that top rope. Here's Darren. Look at that, an arm drag. A sky-high arm drag by Darren Young, and Curtis Axel, he's on Dream Street. Here's Darren Young. The gut check. And that could just wrap this thing up. The cover. 1, 2, 3. Darren Young is your winner. And like I said, momentum. It could be the difference between a strong performance at King of the Ring and a defeat in the opening round. And certainly heading into the event, Darren Young, he is looking fired up. He's perhaps in the best shape of his career thus far. I don't know, Darren Young. I don't know. This is just my personal opinion, but I really feel like Darren Young, he's a force to be reckoned with heading into the tournament. But you could also make the argument that that is not saying much, considering there are a lot of forces to be reckoned with heading into this tournament. We're about to see 2 of them on center stage in this matchup to main event this episode of Main Events. And you're talking about a guy who comes in with a freight train of momentum, who has just been the unstoppable force. You're looking at him. It's the Swiss Superman, the King of Swing, Cesaro. He goes by many nicknames, but lately, we've been calling him the Intercontinental Champion, and before that, the United States Champion. He is now a dual champion, which, not to say that it hasn't been done before, but in terms of singles titles, we have never had a superstar who has held multiple singles championships at the same time. In the past, we've seen someone like a Jack Swagger pick up the United States Championship and the Tag Team Championship simultaneously. But Cesaro, he's not only a dual champion, but he's a champion on both brands. That is a feat that is unrivaled in Universe mode to this point. And that's all because of the title versus title match at Night of Champions, where Cesaro, he was able to defeat and conquer Titus O'Neil
And now he stands alone as the current longest reigning champion since, well, currently holding a championship. He won the title at WrestleMania from Alberto Del Rio. But tonight, he faces off with a former champion and last year's winner of the King of the Ring tournament. In terms of all the superstars competing in this year's tournament, well, Cesaro trying to get the jump on Mark Henry, but Mark Henry's not having that. We saw Cesaro use a similar strategy to the Big Show, but Mark Henry could put him away. No! Cesaro gets the shoulders up at 2, but Mark Henry, just the height off of that throw. I mean, Cesaro, he went 10 feet in the air. Without a doubt, he had the wind knocked out of him. And now Mark Henry just looking to go to work. He's looking to induct Cesaro
prematurely into the Hall of Pain tonight. He's not even going to wait until King of the Ring. Another elbow drop cover. 1, 2. No. Cesaro still able to keep himself alive, but at this rate, Henry, all he's got to do is just power slam him and elbow drop him. If he keeps this up, Cesaro, he's not going to make it to King of the Ring. And Cesaro, talking about his championship reign as well, he is nearing the longest single championship reign in the history of Universe Mode, which is currently held by Ryback with his Intercontinental Championship title reign, and I always want to say the Ascension, but it's the Wyatt family, both at 196 days as champion. Cesaro, he's getting pretty close. He's just got a couple weeks to go before he ties that record. And if he can defend his championship at Battleground, he will certainly surpass the record. As there's a double foot stomp delivered to Strowman, and now a kick to the face. That's becoming a vintage combination from Cesaro. And he follows it up with a knee right to the face of the world's strongest man. And I mentioned that Cesaro at this point seemed to be the unstoppable force. Well, tonight, as cliche as it may sound, he meets the immovable object in Mark Henry. I mean, you talk about a man who has had a decorated career. Former World Heavyweight Champion. Former King of the Ring winner. And Mark Henry, he has just laid a path of destruction in his wake. Think of some of the top superstars, former world champions that Henry has defeated. You look at John Cena, Sheamus. The list. I mean, you also have Christian to throw into the mix as well. Cesaro kick to the back of the leg, though. Look at the strength of Cesaro as he slams him down. Mark Henry crashes into the mat. See, here's the thing. Cesaro, we talk about superstars who potentially could be on the verge of moving up to the main event, of becoming future World Heavyweight Champions, of perhaps becoming the next World Champion. Cesaro, he's got to be at the top of the list of candidates as future World Champ. But Cesaro, he's looking to make his future the present. And if he can win this Sunday at King of the Ring, he'll do just that. But first, he's got to get through Mark Henry. And a gut-wrench suplex. Cesaro putting that power on display once more. The cover. 2. No. Henry kicks out once again. And Cesaro up to the second rope now. Mark Henry, look out behind you. Oh, a European uppercut from the second rope. Beautiful move there from Cesaro. One of Cesaro's trademark maneuvers are those European uppercuts. You can't get hit by too many of those and expect to continue in this match, let alone, I mean, Henry, he might not even make it to Night of Champions. Might be sucking soup through a straw. Mark Henry, though, able to roll out of the way. Cesaro tried to fly, but he paid for it. And Mark Henry took him down there with a bulldog. And now I think those uppercuts, they've only pissed Mark Henry off. And look at this. Powerbomb to Cesaro. And that could have put him away. Oh, now Henry off the ropes. Huge splash. 400 plus pounds. Crushing the life out of Cesaro. But it's not enough to score the win. Cesaro kicks out.
And Mark Henry, well, we've seen superstars get frustrated tonight, but Mark Henry, he seems as calm as ever. Well, that's what he does. And, you know, this is proof right now that he's just accustomed to beating the crap out of people until they can't stand back up. It doesn't matter. I don't think Henry, he doesn't really care how many moves he's got to hit Cesaro with. I mean, he'd probably... Oh, wait, Cesaro counters! Side Russian leg sweep. What a resourceful counter there from Cesaro. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I think Cesaro was looking for the swing. If he could swing Mark Henry, that would be insane. And, oh, look at that. Full head of steam, Cesaro. The European uppercut, and here we go. Cesaro starting to roar up the momentum. Here we go again. European uppercut into the corner. Cesaro, he's starting up the freight train, as he could be looking to four-corner him. No, but Henry shoves him away. And now Mark Henry, a clothesline. And, well, he put the brakes on that one. Just like that, Cesaro absolutely deflated. His momentum destroyed. A backbreaker now from Mark Henry. As Cesaro right now, he's in a world of trouble. Mark Henry's got the upper hand as he slams him down. And a headbutt there. Shades of the junkyard dog, as Mark Henry now drags Cesaro to the center of the ring. Cover here. 1, 2. No! No matter what Henry hits Cesaro with, he will not stay down. Oh, wait a minute. Counter by Cesaro. He's back into it. Fighting with everything he's got. Cesaro staggers Henry. And here he goes. Springboard European uppercut. And that one might have just decapitated the world's strongest man, as Cesaro flips him over. Looking perhaps for yet another deadlift. Gut-wrench suplex. Oh, no. He's still got him hooked. Cesaro nails the second one. And he's looking for the third. And you know what I love to say? Everybody loves a good gut-wrench from this man, Cesaro. And now he's looking for the Cesaro swing. The King is about to take Mark Henry on a ride. And this is not a ride that many... Oh, no, wait. Henry knew it was coming, and he was able to counter it there. And now Mark Henry, he's got Cesaro. Oh, a bear hug. A bear hug by Mark Henry. And Cesaro, if he wants to make it to this Sunday, he might have to tap out here. He might have to save himself. But I don't think Cesaro wants to give up this match. Cesaro's not a quitter. And even if this costs him the chance this Sunday, he'll still fight on. Oh, but no. Mark Henry, he squeezed the life out of him, and now a world's strongest slam. And that's it. Cesaro is done. Mark Henry, he's got this in the bag, but... You've got to be kidding me. Mark, don't do this. You've already hit him with one. One is enough. But Henry... Just for emphasis, world's strongest slam, 2, 3. Mark Henry. He defeats Cesaro here tonight. And what a statement just made by Mark Henry. Heading into this matchup, we thought Cesaro was unstoppable, but Mark Henry has just proven that the Swiss Superman does have a kryptonite. And Mark Henry, I mean, you want to talk about heading into the King of the Ring tournament looking strong. The King, he is back and ready to reclaim his throne. And you're going to have to kill this man to take it from him. Well, that's it for this episode. And here is the official King of the Ring bracket. Let me know down in the comment section who you think, who your pick is to win it all. And if you want to go the extra mile, who do you think is going to win each matchup in the tournament? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one. And, as always, keep on YouTubing.